A hunter killed a deer and brought it home. He decided to clean it and prepare it and serve the deer meat for dinner. He knows that his kids are fussy eaters and they won't eat it if they know what it is, so he doesn't tell them. His little boy keeps asking, "What's for dinner, Dad?" "You'll see," he replies. They start eating dinner, and then his daughter keeps asking him what they are eating. "Okay," says her dad, "here's a hint. It's what your mom calls me sometime, dear." His daughter screams, "Don't eat it, Jimmy! It's a couch potato!" Let's talk about it. I read a story recently that I think is worth our time. The New York Times told the story of Kathy Fletcher and David Simpson. They have a son named Santi, who went to Washington, D.C. public schools for his whole life, and Santi had a friend who sometimes went to school hungry. So Santi invited him to the occasional dinner and to sleep at his house. And that friend had a friend, and that friend had a friend. And now, when you go to dinner at Kathy and David's house on Thursday night, there might be 15 to 20 teenagers crammed around their table. And later, there will be groups of them crashing in the basement or in a few bedrooms upstairs to sleep. The kids who show up at Kathy and David's have endured the ordeal of modern poverty, homelessness and hunger, abuse, sexual assault. Almost all of them have seen death firsthand, to a sibling, a friend, or a parent. One 21-year-old woman came to dinner last week and said that it was the first time she had been around a family table since she was 11 years old. And yet, by some miracle, hostile soil has produced charismatic followers of a healthy family. Thursday dinner is the big social occasion of the week. Kids come from around the city. Spicy chicken and black beans are served. Cell phones are banned. Be in the now, Kathy says. The kids call Kathy Mama. They call David Dad. They're unfailingly polite. They clear the dishes. They turn to each other in love and talk to each other face to face. Birthdays and graduations are celebrated. Songs are performed. Each meal they go around the table and everybody has to say something about themselves that nobody else knows. They demonstrate their commitment to care for one another. One young girl said, "It's the warmest place I've ever been." The kids need what all adolescents need. They need bikes and laptops and a listening heart. "Thank you for seeing the light in me," one young woman told Kathy after a cry on the couch. You see, poverty up close is so much more intricate and unpredictable than the picture of poverty you get from the grand national debates on the topic. The kids can project total self-confidence one minute and then slide into utter lostness the next. The college application process often seems like a shapeless fog. Nobody taught them the concrete steps to move along the way. One young woman lied on her financial aid form because she didn't want to admit that her father was dead or that her mother was on drugs. She didn't want to admit how messed up her home life actually was. There's no margin for error for these kids. And she would have lost her college dreams if not for a squad of adults ready to mobilize around her. The adults in the community give the kids the chance to present their gifts. At a recent dinner, Ed read a poem from his cracked flip phone. Kaseri has a beautiful singing voice that she shared. Madeline and Taya practiced friendship as if it was their highest art form. Jamal absolutely loves to talk about engine repair. Bill Milliken, a veteran youth activist, is often asked which programs turn lives around for kids. And he said, "I still haven't seen one program change the life of one kid." He said, "What changes people is relationships. Somebody willing to walk through the shadow of the valley of adolescence with them." The church is often guilty of trying to use programs to change lives. The only way to truly make an impact is one person at a time, in circles. The reality is that souls are not saved in bundles. Love is the necessary force, and circles are better than rows. The problems facing this country are deeper than the labor participation rate or ISIS. It's a crisis that originates in the home. It's a problem of solidarity, a crisis of segmentation, spiritual degradation, and intimacy. So stop here and answer the first 3 questions and then push play. You've heard the story of Jesus with the 12 disciples in the upper room found in Mark, and I'm going to read it to you right now. In the evening, Jesus arrived with the 12, and they were at the table eating. Jesus said, "I tell you the truth, one of you eating with me here will betray me." Greatly distressed, each one asked in turn, "Am I the one?" He replied, "It is one of you 12 who is eating from the bowl with me. For the Son of Man must die, as the Scriptures declared long ago. But how terrible it will be for the one who betrays him. It would be far better for that man if he had never been born." As they were eating, Jesus took some bread and blessed it. Then he broke it in pieces and gave it to the disciples, saying, "Take it, for this is my body." And he took a cup of wine and gave thanks to God for it. He gave it to them, and they all drank from it. And he said to them, "This is my blood, which confirms the covenant between God and his people. It is poured out as a sacrifice for many." So what just happened? Jesus just offered communion to who? The disciples. And including the disciple who was going to betray him, and Peter, who was going to deny him. He offered them communion. Jesus ate good food with bad people all the time. And this is like the climax of that habit. Many families are broken and divided over fights. They disagree and they have anger over past arguments. But past arguments keep families from fellowship too often. From being a table of community, these disagreements separate us. Because of that, forgiveness is a primary key to the success of table communities. If you're good at holding a grudge, you'll probably never experience what a really good table community is like. If you're good at forgiving, you're likely to have a flourishing table community. When Jesus offered communion to Judas, he wasn't just showing that he was full of grace. He was also teaching us to be full of grace, to make reconciliation a primary objective in our lives. Not long after this, Jesus had breakfast on the beach with Peter, who had just betrayed him. The table is a place of forgiveness. Answer the rest of the questions, and then I will see you Sunday.